good things happening currently. Apple actually starts man has said that it is starting manufacturing of iPhone 13 in India. Apparently, uh, Apple is working with a Taiwanese manufacturer called Foxconn. I, I thought it was a
Foxconn, yeah.
Chinese manufacturer, but the
Oh,
it
it's
says Taiwanese
Taiwanese.
here. I think they are the same.
Yeah,
I don't want to be cancelled, but yeah, let's say
yeah,
whatever it is read, whatever writers report here. iPhone is produced at a local plant
yeah.
in southern Tamil Nadu.
Right.
So I think Tamil Nadu has a lot of manufacturing plants because of the ports across, and it's easy to like ship
Yeah,
and everything. And I think India is like the second biggest smartphone manufacturer. I'm surprised that we don't have a manufacturing plant for iPhone and Android or Samsung yet in India, because it's cheaper. Like you can just build. I'm sure it's cheaper than South Korea. India is definitely cheaper than South Korea. So to manufacture something, so yeah, this is
yeah.
great for India.
I think initially, I'm sure. Yeah, initially, I'm sure they thought there was no market, right? Because they're
Yeah.
expensive phones. But now, yeah, everybody has an
Right.
iPhone in India. Maybe they realized it. They started selling iPhones directly in like 2015, I believe. Until then, there was no direct
Yes.
retail
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
Apple in India.
Yeah.
It was all imported. But after that, they started selling and then
Right.
servicing. Yeah, but this is definitely good. And then, like, yeah, Tamil Nadu, they have a lot of pedigree with manufacturing, right? The Toyota, a lot of big companies came there for manufacturing, and yeah, this is good. And yeah, with respect to Foxconn, it's very big, and I
Right.
mean that is one. There are a lot of companies in Taiwan, and that is, it's going to be interesting, right? What will happen next? What will China do after
Right.
Ukraine? But just because I saw Foxconn, I
Yeah,
just wanted to say that.
apparently, yeah, that's correct.
Um,
I think there is a lot of push from many big companies, not just Apple. All the other manufacturing companies also are trying to have other alternatives like Vietnam or Brazil or India, to so that they are
yeah,
not like completely dependent on China. Especially, I think that's the lesson learned from the
yeah,
pandemic, where if that's it has it's not a dig against China. It's just that for as a business, right? If anything can happen, you still want your business
yep,
to go on, right? You still want to make money. Everybody still should get paid.
yep,
So it just makes sense to have alternative plants across the world, not just in India.
yeah. Yeah. No, and also the political
Correct.
situation is changing, right? All the last 30, 40 years, it was more like, China was used to do whatever
Right.
US wanted. I'm talking
Right.
about
Yeah. Yeah.
labor laws and, so on. There was no
Yeah.
labor law per se. But now things are changing. The political situation is changing. The labor is getting expensive. So I'm sure they're looking at other opportunities. And then the other thing is, if China makes a move
Hmm.
against Taiwan, I'm sure companies will be in a very difficult
Right.
position, right? So I'm sure they're planning for that also. Yeah, they
Yeah.
they
They
should,
should. They should. No. No. That's
because
correct.
yeah, that puts it a very
Yeah.
difficult. Yeah, it will be very difficult otherwise.
Yeah, and also one more good thing to end our show is that Apple actually is has committed to save the mangrove forest in India. Apparently, I didn't know what mangrove meant, but apparently these are all the coastal
Hmm.
plants, like plants which only can survive on the coastal regions of any country, are called mangrove plants, or if there
Hmm.
are too many, it's the mangrove forest. So India has about
Hmm.
21,000 hectares of these, and they are like they committed to that, to save that. They're spending a lot of money. I don't know how much, but it says that they're spending a lot of money to conserve and expand these forests across the country in India. So I think that's a good
Right.
initiative. I think we should always it's good generally, like I think like this is my fundamental belief. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think in India, like growing up, there was a lot of
Mm.
I would say ignorance, with in terms of environment, like how are we like ruining environment unintentionally. But I think since they have been
Yeah.
rubbing us with that since the 90s, I think our generation is coming of age now. I think in the next decade or two, India will be very, very more like everything will be like we are more concerned about the environment, where we know like we are screwing up, the people will be more careful how to throw their
Yeah,
trash, stuff like that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of you know it started, I think, in the last 10 years especially. I have seen a
Mhm.
lot of change. I don't know if it's too late, but because there is a lot of deforestation that happened, unfortunately. I think the governance around deforestation, the policies should be
Right.
more tight. But at least people have understood the importance. I think it's because of the temperatures, soaring
Yeah,
temperatures, right? It's already like reaching 110, in India already, 110,
you mean
120.
Fahrenheit? Yeah.
And it's going,
Yeah.
yeah, Fahrenheit, yeah. Yeah, of course. But yeah, I was there a couple of years ago in
Wow.
India during
Mm.
this time, and you can't step out after like 9, 10. That's it. You can't go out
Yeah.
of the home until 6, 7 p.m., right? And nobody is actually working
Wow.
during that time, you know that. That is, you
It's
can't,
so hot.
especially if you are doing a
Right.
hard labor. The construction, these people, they have changed their times. They're only working in the morning and the evening. In During the daytime they
Right.
can't
Yeah.
work.
There's no point. Yeah.
The heat will just
Like how
kill
many
you. Yeah.
people can
So
they get, I mean, if it is 1 2% they can live with it, but if it's like half of your man forces or woman or man slash woman forces down in the summer, like it doesn't make sense. Might as well have some lights and go through the
yeah,
night.
yeah, it's person force,
Sorry,
you can't
sorry,
say man force.
I stand corrected, it's a person force. Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, I think, few years ago I saw this article somewhere else where they talk about the rising temperatures and the impact on the economic development of countries like India and Africa, which are closer
Right.
to equator, right? Apparently they're going to have a very high reduction in the workforce capacity during these months because of this reason. But I'm sure these studies are like, they don't look at options, right? If it's going to be very hot during the day, I'm sure people will work through
Right.
the night during these hot days. But yeah, but it definitely affects the productivity, because you can't, I'm telling you, I mean, I was born and raised in India, right? So it's, heat is not nothing new. But now it has gotten so hot. When you see people who are living in India, they are unable to
Right.
take it, right? Actually, I was better off. I was okay. But people were not even stepping out of the house the whole
Yeah.
day, right? And then, the air conditionings are running continuously, so it's, yeah. But
Right.
never too late to
Right.
start
Yeah, that
forestation.
reminds me. Since you were talking about that, reminds me that like I was reading this article long time ago. Like it was basically talking the consequences of global warming. A lot of people think it is just a few
Mm,
feet of water rising on the oceans, and a couple of houses getting swamped into the ocean. That's not it. So he basically says that a lot of the railway tracks, the buildings, the roads, all of these, when they build it, they consider a certain temperature in that region. So if you're building a railroad in Sikkim, your temperature, you have to consider the temperature of Sikkim. If you're building it in Tamil Nadu, you have to consider the
mm,
temperature of Tamil Nadu when you build it, and there is a upper limit and bottom limit. But if temperatures really rise for like long periods of time, not just one day, like if there's a month of 50 degrees centigrade in India, I'm sure that it will affect the railway tracks, and everybody, the government has to fix it. It's a
yeah,
lot of money. A lot of buildings are structured for a
yeah,
certain way. The metal is structured certain way. So all of that will have to like, you have to pretty much
yeah,
reconstruct your country for the new temperatures. That's a lot more
yeah,
expensive than not like using some sort of a solar thing on your top of your house. I know it's expensive, and it is not, the technology is like still in the early stages in India, but like it makes more sense why the government should like uh, push a lot of these things into Indian markets.
yeah. Yeah, and just so you know, it already happened. The train
Yeah.
tracks thing, last year or before that year, one of the train tracks in India, because of the extreme heat, it turned into a wave. So instead of straight
Oh,
train tracks,
it was
it
like a
was
sine wave.
wave because it expanded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
expanded due to the heat, and I'm sure they put some
right,
threshold to expand, but it was so hot that it expanded, and it was pushing against
right.
each other, right? And
Yeah,
then it became a
see,
wave, so the trains couldn't
of
go
course.
on it.
And
They had to go
just
very
imagine like
slow,
all the
obviously.
long trips, who knows like which train track is like expanded and which doesn't. Like it's like
Yeah.
there's unknown territory, so the best is to just stop train tracks,
Yep.
and you can't do that because the only time they want to travel is during the summer. And I think the North India will
Yeah.
get a lot of tourists coming in the next decade. Everybody was like want to just move from Tamil Nadu to like Kashmir or like any of the northern part of India. Funny
Yeah.
thing, remember how we have this president's house in Hyderabad, near Alwal? Apparently it's supposed
Yeah.
to be
Yep.
the summer capital or the winter capital, or the winter capital of
Yep.
India. I don't think
Yep.
it is true any longer. Like with the weather changes, I don't know
Yeah.
if that applies anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. In it, no, it
I
is
think,
in winter,
but still,
not
like
in summer.
okay. But
Win
the reason they came here in
Because
winter is
yeah,
because
winters are very
go ahead.
cold.
No, no, go ahead.
Yeah, in winter, Delhi is
Oh,
very
okay.
cold, right? That is when they used to come to Hyderabad. Um, but yeah,
But yeah, I remember like they used to nobody was allowed in Alwal. Like everybody all
yep,
used to check, and it was pretty strict. But anyway, yeah, we I
yep,
think we talked a lot. But anyway, thanks guys, thanks for joining us. This is our first time doing a YouTube live thing, or a YouTube video thing, and hope you guys like it. Please like, share, and subscribe.